I'm muting myself again, though. I am not here except to let people in.
Okay.
Thank you, Laney. Okay, it's just turned 3 o'clock. Today is Thursday, January 11th. This is the hybrid meeting of the Sunshine Canyon Landfill Community Advisory Committee, City and County of Los Angeles. So I call the meeting to order. Could we have a roll call by note taker, please?
Yes, Jeanette Capaldi. Richard Fisk. Here. Larry Fleck. Wade Hunter.
Here.
Jennifer.
You? Jennifer, you? Yes.
Oh, what's that? Jennifer, you.
Here.
Karen Waters.
Absent? No, she's absent.
And Debbie Petrosco.
Here.
We have quorum. Okay, we have quorum. Yeah. Okay. So we have the on the agenda the approval for the November 8th, 2023 minutes. Can I get a second? If there are no issues with the 13 pages? 15. 15? Yeah, I made a motion to approve the November 9, 2023 minutes. I need a second.
I'll second them.
Okay, Debbie
Petrosco will second them.
Debbie Petrosco will second, okay? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none opposed, it's unanimously approved. Okay, thank you. We're on to B, old business, which is discussion of committee motions and possible action. The first bullet is outstanding administrative matters. Does the vice chair have anything? Vice chair has nothing, okay? And I want to thank her for turning up because she's been sick with COVID too, so she doesn't have it, but she had it. Okay. Where did we get to? Okay, the note that I have for the chair, scheduling officer elections for the March meeting, we're short 2 appointments by the city of Los Angeles. We have been in contact with Councilman Lee, and we're looking to get 2 appointments. So I thought if I could just hold off the elections till March, when we can get a full group here, then we would hold the elections then. That's all I have. Okay, thank you. Well, the treasurer's report was November 2023 to December 23 by the treasurer. Unfortunately, Mr. Fleck is not here. However, if you look in the packet that was distributed to you, there is, right after the minutes, yeah, there we go. There is a financial statement there, and I can sort of read it into the record. In his absence, our business checking account for expenses ending in 1234. Beginning balance was $1,426.94. We had a number of checks issued on that for copying to Postal Plus. The meeting place, Center for Spiritual Living, and then the expenses for snacks and refreshments for that meeting. It totaled $873.70. So the ending balance was, for that account, was $553.24. Okay, the next we have a business savings account for consultants ending in 1582. Beginning balance was $61,457.21. We had 2 interest payments, one of 54, one of 49, totaling $1.03. So the ending total for that account was $61,458.24. We go to the business checking for consultants account ending in 9514. Beginning balance was $36,696.98, and that remained unchanged. We also have petty cash. We had $100 in petty cash. That also remained unchanged. So for the totals, again, we spent $873.70, which was debit. Our beginning balance was $99,681.13. We had $1.03 deposit in interest. Total ending balance was $98,808.46. And that was prepared by Larry Fleck, treasurer, and myself. Can I have a motion to approve the?
I have a question.
Oh, yes, sir.
I notice here on the checking account on the first part of the statement, we have a payment to spiritual living which exceeds the amount we have balanced for this month. How are we going to pay it?
Oh, there's already been a transfer made, and I didn't report it because it was made in January of 2024, but there was a $6,996.98 was transferred from account number ending in 9514 to that account ending in 1234. So we will have plenty of money for the next. Okay, but it will appear on the next financial statement. Okay, so I had a motion to approve, which.
I move that we approve the treasurer's report.
Okay, so we got Debbie. Okay.
That helps reach you.
Before we close the public, I would just like to point out that questions or comments about a report should be made after the motion has been made. Motion is made and seconded, and then if there's a discussion or questions, and then we go.
Yes. And again, this is our parliamentarian and knows best, so we can't overrule it. Thank you. Okay, so it was seconded by Jeanette. Okay, so those in favor say aye. Aye, okay. Are there any opposed? Okay, hearing none, it was approved unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, we're on to C, new business discussion and possible committee motions and actions to address the following. And the first one on C1 is Browning Ferris Industries / Republic Services to report on any and all Sunshine Canyon landfill daily activities, state of infrastructure / gas collection system, notable events including NOVs, current and future disposal operations, including continuing efforts to abate odors. And we have Mr. Michael Stewart.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Stewart. I'm the general manager for Sunshine Canyon Landfill. Happy New Year. I'm here to give the operational report for Sunshine Canyon. We continue to utilize cell CC4, Part 4, A, B, and C. The wet weather deck was utilized November 15th through the 20th, and then again December 17th through January the 9th. We continue to use the Enviro cover for ADC and monitor its performance daily. During the month of November, December, and the first week of January, a full soil cover was applied every Saturday. ADC was used for cover on weekdays, and all trash was covered with either ADC or soil on all days. As part of a construction update, we've received a grading permit for all the phases of the tow burn project, including phases 3, 4, and 5. Excuse me. This is an important project to enhance our odor controls on site, as well as reduce the visual impact of looking up into the canyon and ensure the stability for the continued development of the landfill. All phases of 1 and 2 construction have been completed, with the majority of phase 3 underway and complete. Work is underway on the internal access road through City South, which will eventually connect with the full build out of the berm and will provide a safer paved access into the landfill. The road modification is expected to be completed by February or March in 2024. Construction of the entirety of the berm project is estimated to be completed in mid-2025. Cell construction is planned for 2024. The cell is named CC5 Part A and is approximately 16.5 acres in size and will be primarily an overliner over the old City South portion of the landfill. Construction will start February or March of this year, depending on the weather. Disposal operations will continue in the existing and remaining constructed airspace until Q3. Once cell CC5 Part A is construction is complete, then we'll head into the new cell. We continue to move through the permitting process for the installation of Flare 12, and with the expected install completion target of 2024 pending approvals. The air quality monitoring station in City South has been relocated to the desired location of Sonoma Tech and is fully operational at this time. Weather update. The weather preparedness plan regarding odor prevention protocols, pre- and post-storm inspection timelines, and ponding mitigation has been completed and approved by the LEA. Since mid-October, the site has received approximately 5.76 inches of rain, which is about roughly a tenth of what we received in the 2022 to 2023 rainy season. October 25th, we had 0.03 inches. November 15th, 16th, and 18th, we had approximately an inch. And then December 18th through the 22nd and the 30th, we received 4.66 inches. Our odor patrol team is fully staffed and the patrols are rolling smoothly. The team is in the neighborhood during the early hours of operation and then moves to spot patrols throughout the day. As they notice odors, they will relay the information back to the site and we will adjust operations based on their feedback. We are continually modifying the pilot stationary wet and dry vapor odor neutralizer delivery system on site. We have established a partnership with a consulting firm developing site-specific neutralizer and delivery systems, and we continue on working with them to improve the on-site systems and tailor our product to waste streams and finding the best solutions. Some additional odor control measures. In late November and early December, we began preparing a new process, which we refer to as the laydown yard. The purpose of this laydown yard is to reduce the potential for odors while tipping activities take place, while still moving the necessary volume out of the transfer station network throughout the city of LA. The idea is to continue to minimize the amount of time the waste remains in the transfer station network. The overall way the laydown yard, that's a mouthful. The overall way the laydown yard process works is tipper loads are delivered and dropped in the yard starting at 6 a.m. when the facility opens and stored covered until later in the day when weather conditions are typically improved and there are less potentials for odors during the tipping. Preparation of the yard included delivery of the empty trailers, which we had 14 test units. That happened on December 7th, and the program started on December the 8th. Long-term, we believe this pilot program will be successful, and we plan to continue to grow the program. We've been piloting tipping time windows to coincide with more favorable wind conditions as much as is feasible to reduce the impacts of the morning in the morning hours. Other odor reduction programs in the works include working with LA Public Works to allow for the replacement of the full soil cover on Saturdays and replace it with ADC. We firmly believe this will reduce Monday morning odors following peel back before waste filling begins. In the long term, we know that this will improve the internal drainage function of the landfill by ensuring proper waste-to-waste contact. This will also reduce the amount of soil and soil trucks needed for import in order to operate the facility. And finally, we continue to actively collaborate with all regulatory stakeholders for the development of new, innovative odor reduction techniques and operations that will last throughout the remaining life of the landfill. So before we move to questions, I'd like to take the time to introduce Gretchen Lowry. She's our Area Vice President for Public Services in Los Angeles and Orange County. Would you like to come up and say?
Great, thank you so much. Thank you all for having me here today. As Michael mentioned, my name's Gretchen Lowry, and I'm a Vice President at RIP Public Services, which is the company that runs the Sunshine Canyon landfill. And I probably don't have to tell you that, our work at Sunshine Canyon is very, very complex. And we take in almost 9,000 tons of waste daily. But it's also extremely important to us to make sure that we're effectively doing that in partnership with our communities in which we serve. So while Sunshine Canyon keeps Los Angeles clean and functional, we recognize that, the complexities of the site are not without their complications. We've heard many of your complaints about odor and about dust, and I guarantee you that we take them very, very seriously. And we're listening. We're listening. Michael's listening. We're listening back at our corporate headquarters. And we're taking every step possible to really evolve our processes to make sure that the odor issues don't continue to impact our communities. Unfortunately, I don't have to tell you, some extreme weather conditions, many of which are unpredictable, can affect landfills across the whole country, not just here in LA. And in the past year, we here in LA haven't been immune from some of those extreme weather conditions. With early rainfall earlier in the year, and then it's really hard to believe, a hurricane in August, which led to some erosion and at the landfill and contributed to some of the odor issues you've all spoken to us about thus far. Of course, we realize that it's likely that extreme weather events may actually continue here in LA, so we're not going to just chalk them up to an unusual year, but we are really working hard to make sure that we are adapting our processes to be able to accommodate any weather that comes our way. So well before the recent LA Times article came out and reported some of these extreme weather impacts, we were already working to adjust our procedures and plans and really pulling in our engineering and environmental experts, both at our headquarters, in our local teams, in our consulting teams, and all of our partnerships with our governmental and regulatory entities, so that we could really make sure that we're doing everything we can to move things forward. Michael shared several of those things. The lay down lot, we've been doing a lot of work with erosion, but we're not stopping. We're going to continue to evolve our processes. And everyone here at Republic Services is committed to being a good neighbor and working with you to address those complaints and adapt to the increased frequency of these weather-related emergencies. So we're confident that our investments and strategies we've implemented are going to have a better outcome as we move into this year's rainy season. We've already seen a lot of that in the last 2 weeks when we had the big rain. And we're really going to prepare for unpredictable weather in the future, and let's just hope it doesn't happen for all of us. But I really appreciate being here and appreciate your time to be here and work with us to kind of move things forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Gretchen. Are there any questions from the horseshoe? Yes. Richard.
Thank you for coming. There's always been continual odors, we know that, and you're addressing them with some programs. My question is, Mr. Stewart, as general manager, if you had unlimited resources at your disposal and had to answer to no one, what would you do differently to improve or change some of the programs you have in place?
The first thing that I would do is rewrite the permit so we could accept waste later into the evening and start later in the afternoon. And just adjust the timing required to that we are open to taking the waste stream. That would be number one. Number two, unlimited, I'd put a dome over it. I obviously can't do that, but those are some of the ideas that we're trying to look at doing in terms of not necessarily a dome, but as we complete the front entrance of the canyon, we think we're going to have much better control of the winds that move through there and the potential for them to whip through and carry odors into the neighborhood. So an odor dome with the construction of the berm and the vapor system and adjusting the timing of the permit of taking waste later into the evening.
Is that the answer your... Okay, Debbie?
Forgive me if you've explained this in the past because it's gone out of my brain. Can you describe what you mean, what the process is when you talk about tipping and tipping time? And I don't know what that tipping thing is.
So waste comes to the landfill either in residential vehicles or transfer vans. There's two types of transfer vans. There are transfer vans that offload with floors that move kind of like a conveyor belt, referred to as walking floors. And then tippers are transfer vans that actually get racked up on a tipping system that move it and dump all the waste from inside the tipper out at once.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Good. I'd like to ask you just how did it work out with our last lot of rains? Have you got everything under control?
Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but we were really happy with how we withstood the amount of rain that we got. I think last time I told you we were ready for a 10-inch rain. I think we're still ready for a 10-inch rain. I hope that we don't get it, but in that December event, it was approximately 5 inches, close to 5 inches, basically what Hillary did, and we had minimal damages. We had to adjust where some of our flow patterns were going with the runoff. So there was slight erosion, but nothing to the degree that we saw last year. We were able to make adjustments, and we believe that with the next rainfall, we'll be able to come out with less damage than we even received last time. So we didn't have to divert. We didn't have to shut down the landfill. We had no unauthorized discharges, and the repairs to the landfill we were able to make once it dried within 3 or 4 days.
Okay. I'd like to also ask Gretchen, are you staying at the landfill or are you back at headquarters? Where can we find you?
Great. Well, I will give you my cell phone if you want my cell phone. I'm based in our Phoenix office, but I usually fly out here every week. I'm getting to know a lot of the hotels in this wonderful area, so I'm usually out here in the LA market Monday to Thursday, usually, depending on my schedule. So definitely spend most of my time, and a lot of it is actually up at the site with Michael and the team. So.
Okay, now we're assuming now that you're really involved with trying to correct this problem that we have, and part of the answer to getting it done. So you said you had a cell phone?
Yeah, I don't want to give it publicly. But
Okay, no, that's fine. No, you said it, and I figured,
do.
hey, I'll take it. Well, we could always contact you at the Phoenix headquarters.
You absolutely.
Do you have that number?
I don't have it. We will get it for
Or an
you.
email
Or you
address.
can you can call Michael anytime, and he has me on speed dial.
Okay.
So.
It's not that we were planning, but normally what we do when we have somebody, we usually ask for their card, and
Okay.
we get their contact information, which we do put into our minutes.
Okay,
I mean, if
wonderful.
you don't want a cell phone number, that's fine, but we like your email address or
Sure.
something.
Yeah, I have my email address. I can give it to you. Do you want it now, or do you want me to hand you my?
The card would work.
Okay, I will hand you my card afterwards.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Sorry
you.
to do that
No,
to you.
no worries. I don't mind at all.
Okay, with that then, do we have any, I'm sorry, Jennifer.
Yeah, I have a question, and forgive me, because as the newbie on the committee, this might be something that everyone knows. But Mr. Hunter, I've heard you say that this is an ongoing problem, and people on the Horseshoe committed to fixing this problem have said that this has been an ongoing issue. The odors are ongoing, and if it's been ongoing, I guess my question is these new remedies that you are proposing, are they new remedies? Is it because we have more rains happening, or is it older equipment that needs fixing? Like, why? Can I get a little bit of a history in terms of the issues?
You're asking who for the answer?
Whoever has
I-
information.
Michael, Gretchen,
so-
whatever?
This year, or I say this year, 2023 was a terrible year for the landfill. We saw weather impacts that we hadn't seen in years. The landfill had odor issues starting in 2016 that were remedied close to 2019, 2020. When I say remedied, the bulk of the issues were taken care of. With the extreme weather that we saw in the first quarter of last year and the hurricane coming in, we actually saw those levels jump back up to a time when the landfill probably did not have an adequate gas collection system. The gas collection system that was added from that time forward was adequate, but not adequate for the weather. So now we've had to install a new series of wells and dewatering pumps so we can make sure that we adequately remove any of the gases that the landfill is making. But then on the other side of it, the waste stream throughout Los Angeles, a lot of this extreme weather caused traffic that delayed the waste getting delivered to the landfill. And as the waste gets older and older and older, it starts to develop, it becomes more ripe. And then so as it comes in the morning with the weather patterns at the landfill, it's very possible that if we're not careful, odors get into the neighborhoods and impact the neighbors. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, that helps. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are there any questions from the residents that are present? Anybody here that would like to ask a question? Surprise, surprise, Mr. Eric Pfefferman.
You also have 2 people on Zoom.
Oh, well, okay, but I'm doing inside first. Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, I guess I just want some clarity from Mr. Stewart, because in September, after we had that tropical storm, it wasn't a hurricane, right? It was Tropical Storm Hillary.
Sure.
And we had 6 consecutive days of NOVs among the 9 that were issued in August. In the September CAC, you said that you were proud of how the facility handled all this wet weather. But now you're saying that it was a terrible year for the Sunshine Canyon landfill and BFI Republic's management of it. So I guess which one is it? Are you proud of how the facility handled all this wet weather and all these odor complaints and NOVs, or was it terrible? Because I feel like we're getting talk out of both sides of the mouth here about how the facility is managing its operations.
Yeah. So thank you for the question. I'm not proud of the first quarter. We should have been more prepared for the wet weather when it came. So we completely failed there. In terms of what I'm proud of is the wet weather preparation that we started in the early summer to prepare for the rainy season. Tropical Storm Hillary was a surprise to everybody, even LA. I don't think a tropical storm has hit Los Angeles in 80 years or probably longer. So I was proud at the way that the landfill withheld the 6 inches of rain on that one Saturday in the earthquake, which had nothing to do with it. But where we saw some flaws in the system has to do with the delivery of waste to the landfill when you run into flooding or issues that are associated with a tropical storm. So August has never seen that much rain. As far as I know, never is probably a strong word, but you multiply that times the heat and the weather that we have, it caused for some problems. So I'm proud of what we could handle at the landfill in terms of preparation for that piece of it. I'm not proud of the first quarter.
Right, well, but then if you look at the last quarter here on the AQMD numbers, there were still 17 NOVs issued in Q4 for 2023.
Yeah,
And that was after your second attempt at this wet weather plan, correct?
Yeah. So it's not all tied to wet weathers. We're not proud. We're proud that we're on a downward trend. Our goal is to have 0 odor complaints and 0 NOVs. We're proud specifically to the question on the wet weather preparation, not blaming all of these NOVs on the weather.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Okay, but just because there's also been weeks at a time where there's been 0 rain, and then we get hit with days on end of consistent odors coming into the neighborhood. So it's not all dependent on the wet weather. It just seems like when we do have wet weather, then BFI Republic comes in here and you guys want this infinite leash. Well, we had rain months ago, so that's why you're having these NOVs in October when there hasn't been rain for 2 months. So at some point, you guys have to figure out what is the time frame then for getting the water out of your wells where then you're able to adequately contain the processing that is going on at your facility so it doesn't impact the neighborhood? Because it seems like you guys just keep referencing, yeah, this wet weather, no one saw it coming, except it was national news for weeks and months ahead of time that wet weather was coming across the whole nation, including Los Angeles. So, and as we all know, this is the new normal, right? So there needs to be something that's in place better than words of, we're really trying hard and we really hope it doesn't impact you guys, because we've heard that for months and months and years now.
Yeah, I
Thank you, Eric.
appreciate your perspective, and I hear the frustration. I understand it. I think, a couple things to keep in mind is, maybe it's helpful to understand that every single odor complaint or NOV that we as a team receive, we do a deep dive on kind of where we think was the source of that, and then we actively work together between our local team and our consultants and our headquarter team to make sure that we're trying to adapt our processes to kind of address what we see as the cause of those particular odors. You're exactly right. Not every single odor has been related to the weather. Those has been the predominant ones, and there's some not direct cause and effect there. Sometimes you can have a rain and it's it's not the next day that you get the odors from the rain. So
Right.
Some of that, even though they are delayed, they can still be a root cause. Some of them are not. And we take each of those very, very seriously. And, we aren't only looking at the ones that we deem as weather related, as Michael shared with the lay down yard and some of the other things that we're putting in place. Those are all mitigation strategies to address kind of multifactorial reasons for the odors.
And what,
Okay, Eric, I'm sorry, but I've got other people waiting here, so I've given you an opportunity, and I've got hands up there that I've got to acknowledge. So, thank you. If we get time, we'll come back, because they're going to stay here for the whole meeting. Okay, we got Meg Volk. Meg?
Hi, I have a question for Mike and Gretchen, and that is in regards to the overliner on the city portion of the landfill. I understand the city portion was not lined to begin with, so my question is, if you're going to overline that portion, is there something in place to dewater, or are there wells there that are going to be dewatered? Because otherwise it seems like you're just trapping in old technology under an overliner. That's one question. And the second question is, regarding the elevation in these different cells that you're building up, is there a set elevation that you would not surpass based on engineering and not being higher than the berm? So thank you for question.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me start with the second one first. There's set elevations throughout our permit for every cell that we build. So there absolutely is a level that we must stop at based on the design. And so the design of the overliner system was designed, just as you said, the old portion of the landfill is not lined. So there's a leachate collection system that will collect any liquids that are generated from the overliner and above. And then there will also be vertical wells that will be inserted through the waste mass that will be utilized to get liquids from the old City South portion of the landfill and the new fill. So
Are those already in place?
No, they will be constructed. They're permitted.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, we see we have Mr. Mahaja has his hand up.
Well, hi, everybody. Happy New Year. And I'm sorry for being late because I have another meeting. My question is during the last meeting, I questioned the issue of marijuana that being disposed at the landfill. And Mr. Stewart said that they have approval from the sheriff and LAPD, and so it was going provide the committee with a copy of the approval. And I just want to know what the status of that written approval form is.
So I don't have a written approval form to provide the committee. If there is one, I'll get one. But as you search through the regulations, the type of marijuana that we're taking is neither hazardous nor medical. It's basically a disposal mechanism for a green waste where it has to be signed off as being destroyed. And so that's where the special waste handling comes in. And so the sheriff comes in and makes sure that a hole is dug, it's buried with several feet of waste to make sure that no one even attempts to go take this product and do something nefarious with it. So I can send you the notes on the regulations or anything that you need, but I can assure you that we're taking this legally under our permit.
No, I want a copy or very specific section with a copy of a permit, whatever agency issued that authorize you to accept marijuana because marijuana still is considered to be a hazardous waste. And in some instances, I recognize that DTSC put some other names on it, but I think it would be good to have a copy of the written copy of it for the committee to have in hand and go from there. So hopefully at the next meeting.
I'll send a copy of it with my meeting notes to Mr. Hunter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I'll make sure you get them. Before I recognize Karen Waters is also a committee member. However, because of the rules under a hybrid meeting, unless she was sick and notified us ahead of time, I can't count her as being present as a committee member, okay, sitting on this committee. So, Karen, I'm glad to see you.
Hello.
Do you have any questions that you wanted to address?
Yes, thank you to Michael and Gretchen. Happy New Year. Just a quick question about, have you given consideration to, what was the number of the tonnage per day?
We're permitted for 12,000. We take anywhere from 8,000 to 9,000 tons a day normally.
Okay. So, have you given consideration to decreasing that tonnage?
We have in the past. We've had to in the past. What we have found is, in order to properly service the waste stream, the waste shed for the greater Los Angeles county, I guess it'd be the whole county, that it's, in our opinion, there's not enough capacity out there should we reduce our tonnage.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'd just like to comment only because we had a comment from Mickey Esposito and Amico Thompson regarding whether or not there was a problem with capacity. And they assured us that there is not a problem. So I'm not quite sure where you're going with that particular statement. There's sufficient capacity in the county of Los Angeles if you didn't take 8,400 average tons per day. You could take something less. And there's still capacity around there that could absorb the difference. Okay, do I have any more? Oh, Mike has got his hand up again. Last question, Mike, and I'm going to have to move on.
All right, I just want, it's going to be fast. That as far as Mr. Schroeder's statement is not enough capacity, daily capacity, as you mentioned and discussed at the last meeting, there are capacity in landfill within vicinity to use. So I just want to correct that statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, folks, thank you very much for standing there and answering all those questions. And we're going to move on now to C2. But before I do C2, I got a little housekeeping to do. Does anybody recognize this that was left from the last meeting? Okay, I was asked if I could find an owner. It's apparently a very, very nice, so. Okay, we don't have anybody there. I just want to make sure that everybody knows through that door over there, if you take a left-hand turn, the restrooms are down there. There's also drinks out there, soft drinks, there's coffee out there, I believe, even hot chocolate maybe. Also, there's snacks out there if anybody wants them, so out through the open door and to the left. Okay, thank you. So we're on to C2, South Coast Air Quality Management District, to report on odor complaints received, NOVs issued, including any year-to-date charts, frequency of inspector response to reports, and any other matters within their purview, to include any enforcement actions to abate odors. And do we have Larry here today? Larry Israel. And is there somebody replacing him?
Yes, myself.
Could you introduce yourself, please, sir? And if you have a card, could we get it?
Yes, I can definitely get you a card soon. Let me just go ahead and pull up the report. Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. My name is Gerardo. I'm one of the inspectors under Larry Israel. I am here on behalf of Mr. Larry Israel to report December and January's findings. Mr. Wade, I will provide you a business card, definitely for sure today.
Thank you.
So we'll go ahead and touch up on December. For the month of December 2023, based on our records, we did receive 113 odor complaints with 0 dust complaints.
Before you go any further, I just want to stop you just so everybody knows. Within your packet, November and December are in there. There's charts there showing you all the status plus the NOVs, et cetera. So while you're reading those, they can also look at them. It's within the packet. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. So 4 of the notices of violation were issued for public nuisance. The dates are December 6th, December 18, December 21st, and December 31st. Again, all of them for public nuisance. If we jump to January 2024, for this month alone.
No, we didn't do that.
Yeah, so that would be new information that's not in the packet. Since January 1st to present date, we have received 47 odor complaints and 0 dust complaints. For the month of January 2024, we have issued 2 notices of violation, both for public nuisance. This week, one was issued for the violation date of January 9th, and the second one was issued for last night's odor event on January 10th. That's all I have at the moment. Larry Israel will be back soon, but if you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer anything at this time.
Thank you. And before I take any questions, again, in your packet, you had November, because again, we didn't have it available when we had our meeting, so I just wanted you to have so you could see what reports and where they were coming from. In the December one here, again, that chart that's showing now that we have 1,721 odor complaints so far this year. That's the second worst year we've ever had. Back in 2015, there was 1,795. So this one was just a little short of the worst year ever. So we've been regressing. If you look at the chart, you see that back in 2005, 2008, we had less than 52 complaints, and then it just went up from there. And then when the abatement odor was taking effect and they were made to do things, there was a real decrease where they came down to 208. But since that time, and that was 2018, but since that time, we've just continued to go up. And so, like I said, second worst year ever. So are there any questions from the horseshoe? Okay, I don't hear any questions from the horseshoe. Are there any questions from any of the audience present? Any of the residents? Yes, Mr. Pfefferman.
Yeah, just wondering what the plan is in place right now to increase staffing, because these complaints, both for December and January, they should both be higher, because quite often, inspectors don't show up till 2-3 hours after residents have started submitting complaints to AQMD. And I understand, in speaking with one of the inspectors who came out, he mentioned that AQMD acknowledges that they're short-staffed during the holidays, which we agree, everyone should be able to spend time away from work and with their families, but we don't get spared that. On Christmas Eve, when I went out to get Christmas cookies that my neighbor dropped off, I get hit in the face with the smell of rotting trash. I didn't get even a call back on Christmas Eve. It wasn't until over 48 hours later on December 26th that someone from AQMD called back and said, hey, yeah, sorry we didn't get to you. We were smelling it on Christmas Day. I didn't even bother to submit a complaint to AQMD since they never even responded on December 24th. On January 2nd, I know a lot of neighbors were also complaining, and again, an inspector didn't show up till nearly 3 hours after I submitted a complaint online. So, I think we all understand we're all human beings and we all deserve time off, but we don't get time off from this facility and how it's impacting our lives. So when we're on holiday and we're spending time with our families and we're home, we're actually getting more exposure to this than we are during our typical everyday lives. So just wondering what AQMD's response is going to be in the future moving forward, especially maybe when there's less facility at Sunshine Canyon from BFI to manage their facility because their employees are on break. Well, if there's fewer people there monitoring it, then we're going to get impacted even more. So just wondering what the executive response is going to be to what happened this past holiday season.
I can't speak on any executive response as I'm not an executive. Oh,
That's fine, Gerardo, I'll take it.
Is that Mr. Mann?
Yeah, yes, sir, it is.
We have Mr. Terrence Mann. I'd like to recognize him there online. Thank you.
Yes, so I can definitely address the executive response. And first of all, I just want to say, well, we're so happy here, and it's good to see all of you here and all of you engaged. And I'm sorry that you're all still experiencing these odors and these issues relating to the landfill. In terms of the technical things, I think that's much of that has been addressed by Mr. Stewart already. But I can say, as to our response, we're doing the best we can. And we're continuing to go out. We're going to go out as often as we can. Sometimes a single complaint may come in after hours or a very small number. We don't have a chance to get to it until the next business day. And it sounds like that's what happened here. My understanding is that we were out on Christmas Day, though I have to be honest. Sometimes I get my wires crossed on this because we have 2 landfills that we're dealing with up in that area. And so we're doing our best to support all of the communities that are being impacted. But there are simply going to be times when we just don't have the resources to do it. That I think every employer, especially every government agency out there, can relate to this issue. That we're doing our best to bring in more troops, train them, and get them out to help you, Mr. Pfefferman, and other members of the community. My response is we've done our best. We will continue to do our best. If we see things that we can improve on, like for example, earlier on in this incident in 2023, we were finding that staffing-wise, we were always playing catch-up. We were always 2 hours behind, or that kind of thing. And so now what we've done is we have taken staff from different teams, not just our toxic waste management team, but from other teams, and we post them up basically in Granada Hills at 7 a.m. or around that time when we think that odors are coming in. So we're taking these resources from elsewhere, putting them in this community, even if no complaints have come in. So we're going to continue to try to come up with creative solutions, and if we need to make improvements, we will certainly do that. But we remain focused on Sunshine Canyon Landfill and the surrounding communities, especially the school and the students and families who live nearby.
And Mr. Mann, the last time you attended the CAC, you said that all solutions were on the table, which included an order for abatement. Yet since that CAC, we've had 11 more 13 more, including the 2 that have been issued for January since. We've had 13 more NOVs issued since. So we're still trending in the direction that I don't think any of us want to be. So where are we then with moving forward with the order for abatement that you said was on the table?
Right. The hearing board is on the table. It will remain on the table until this issue is complete. What I said at the last meeting was that I was in negotiations with the landfill and that I asked for, or say my agency asked for very specific things to be done, including the delaying of tipping that you heard discussed earlier. My staff, who's been here since, well before, Larry Israel and others, who have been here for many years, well before the prior hearing board action in around 2014, 15, 16, that area, or that era, excuse me. We believed that was one of the key drivers, that of all of the different solutions that addressed odor issues, delaying tipping was perhaps the most impactful. And so we basically approached the landfill, said this needed to happen, and they agreed. They went through their process and came back with a very detailed plan. They shared it with LA County Public Works and the other government partners, and they've been implementing that plan. What I had said was if they had objected, or if we suspected any games were being played, I would have recommended to our legal department to immediately go to the hearing board. That didn't happen. The company stepped up and is fulfilling their end of the bargain from my perspective. That being said, all the issues aren't handled. Now, my understanding, for example, last night, it was primarily landfill gas odors.
Yeah.
So those what was that, Mr. President?
I was just agreeing with you. Yes, it's
right.
happening again. So we're shifting times later now. We're starting later. It's like we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. So now we're getting it in the evenings now.
I don't think anybody's being robbed. I think they're two separate issues. So there are the trash odors that deal with tipping and delivery of refuse, and then there's the landfill gas system issues we were talking about. Mr. Stewart highlighted it earlier that back if you look at the chart, back in those early years, we had those high levels of complaints. They simply did not have capacity in the landfill gas system. There were structural problems that were insufficient. And the community, it was long overdue. We did tremendous outreach from the AQMD side to tell the community, call us, we'll come, we'll verify complaints, we'll do these things. And as a result of that overall process, many structural changes were made. As we sit here today, I don't believe there is a consensus as to what the solution is. I'll say we, the county, the city, and this is many agencies within those jurisdictions, and us, we're meeting in a working group now, and of course, with the guidance and assistance of the local elected officials' offices. We're in a working group situation now, and we're trying to identify what those solutions would be. So the hearing board, I said, it's not a silver bullet. I understand, Mr. Franklin, you didn't like that description, but just let me say, it's like a lawsuit. And so we would go before the hearing board and say, we want this list of 3 or 5 or 10 things done. And it would be the same thing. We go to the landfill, insist they do it. They say, no, we go before this quasi-judicial body and we ask for them. We need the expertise of these other government agencies. There are consultants and others who are involved. We need to get that list. Once we know what those things are, we'll ask for them. If we just simply showed up to the hearing board today, the response would almost certainly be, for those of you who lived through this last time, would be, okay, well, go out, do a study, come back in 6 months or some unacceptable period of time for all of us. That's not what we want. We want things done immediately. So the goal is, let's get our action items, let's figure them out, let's get all the experts that we need to hear from. And then we have that list, then we go, and it's pretty much, I don't want to call it an ultimatum, but we go to the landfill and we say, this is what needs to happen ASAP. If the answer is no, you'll see us in the hearing board.
6 months sounds like 6 months sounds like a good time frame, considering the past year that we've had. If it had been done earlier on, then maybe we'd be at the end of that road at this point.
I disagree. I think if we had done it 6 months ago, we would basically have the same solutions that we're seeing now that we know aren't working. So basically, the agreement would be to do these things. Those things would be in play, and they wouldn't be happening. So I don't see it the same way. We can agree to disagree. But I'm telling you, this is the process, and we are taking it very seriously. There's no fear of going before the hearing board. There's no hesitance. This is not a resource issue. The issue is we need a solution. We need things that we would want to put in that order. And, you know, I can tell you that the government organizations that are all in this working group, you know, we're taking it very seriously. We're working hard together to find a solution.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Don't go yet, Terrence, because I got some people who want to ask you questions. First off,
Sure.
Anybody on the Horseshoe have any questions? Okay, I see that I've got 2 people online. I have Mr. Mahaja.
I was, let's see, okay, my question to Mr. Mann, I get disturbed that when I hear that, well, we are doing the best we can. Under the state law, AQMD is responsible to monitor and protect the citizen against odors. And they issued the permit. They issued permit under Title V. And on those permits, it doesn't say, AQMD doesn't say, or Mr. Mann doesn't say that, well, we issued the permit, and Mike Mahajer, even though the permit says this, we're just going to do our best, regardless of what the permit requires. This type of response, it is really disturbing to me. It is, as a government employee, as a public employee, we are getting paid to protect the citizens' health and safety. And this issue has been going on for too long. And now saying that, well, we really don't know what to do. This is your conclusion, that we don't know what to do with this. And so let me ask you this question. Are all the extraction wells that are at that site have all been provided with a pump to discharge the leachate and the liquid? Or some do and some don't? You can answer this question later on, but anyhow, it's from somebody that being involved, having been involved in the issue, that we're doing the best we can, and then take it or leave it. That's all I have to say.
That's not my point. I want to be clear that my point is not we're doing the best we can, take it or leave it. My point is, and my point is also that we don't know what to do. My point is, this is based on science and engineering. You have a hypothesis, you test your hypothesis, and you hope that that works.
I just asked you a question.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I'm speaking now. I'm sorry.
Because you're repeating the same thing.
No, I'm not. This is totally different. This is
Mike, please let him answer the question.
Residents' concerns.
Mike, let him answer the question, please.
So this is a scientific and engineering process. We develop hypotheses, we evaluate, we conduct monitoring, we do all of these things, and then we develop a plan to address it. When I say we're doing the best we can, my point is simply we are giving maximum effort. And I don't see that as a problem. I don't see that as a weakness. And I can say all of our inspectors, like Inspector Vergara, who's there with you, Larry Israel, who will be back next week, but who's out all time, day or night, we are giving maximum effort. And we're going to continue to do that, and we're going to continue to support and be out there with this community. Now, with respect to wells and removing leachate, that's a question I would ask you to refer that to the landfill in terms of specific things they're doing. But the key is, this is not easy, or it would have been solved already. And when something happens, like unprecedented rains and things that no one has ever seen before, we understand there will be, surprising results. And we're all working together to try and solve this problem. So, my response is basically, we are doing our best. We're going to keep doing our best. If people have suggestions or proposals or things they think that would help the community, we'll be happy to address them. One of the things that was brought to our attention a few years back was that it was nearly impossible, maybe that's too strong a term, that it was very hard to confirm notices of violations at schools. Because it was hard to have 6 people at a school, 6 teachers and administrators and other adults. And what we worked with our legal department to change that rule. So all we need now is one person at a school, and that happens at Van Gogh Charter School. One teacher, one administrator can make a complaint, we confirm with that person. That person serves as a proxy for all the children. That has made it a lot easier for us to issue violations. And you asked what was our obligation under the law? Our obligation is to take enforcement action. That is what the law requires us to do. And we're going to keep doing it.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Terrence, I've got one more person up. Meg Volk.
Let's see, unmute. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes, okay. I have a question, and it's regarding this graph here. I was around when the notice or the order of abatement was in effect in 2018. And if you look at the drop in complaints, it obviously had an effect. Nothing's changed. At that time, they were putting in horizontal collectors, vertical collectors. They were dewatering the wells. They were trying the ADC. They were trying the soil, trying all these different things. Well, something must have worked, because at that point, we got down to 208 complaints in 2018. And like Wade mentioned, 1,721 complaints in 2023. So I know that an order of abatement is not a silver bullet, but it certainly did something to change the operations, to maybe, try different things, to determine what the problems were, add other measures, because it's been worse in the last, 2 or 3 years than ever before. So I just have to tell you, I'm not happy with the fact that this has been put on the table, the order of abatement. It did make a difference. It really did. And you can ask any member of the community that did it make change things? Absolutely.
And I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. That's an excellent point. It did make a real change. And part of that was that massive changes were made to the landfill at the time related to landfill gas collection and other systems. So now we're in a place where those changes have already been done, right? We're not going to go back and do the same thing. We need to know what the next generation of changes are. And that hearing board action lasted for years. I actually don't have the dates in front of me, but I thought it was 3 years or something like that. So, and as it was explained to me by members of the community I've spoken to, a few years back now, it took a long time for that change to happen. And, it felt like it was just a constant sort of battle. And we're not in that posture right now. And so we still may end up in front of the hearing board. No one is saying that is not going to happen. That may be the only way to approach this. But as of right now, we are working together with multiple government agencies, a working group, put in place by the LA County Board of Supervisors, your local supervisor, with support from city officials as well. And our goal is to cut to the chase, to get to year 2, but do it in a few weeks from now, or a month from now, as opposed to having to wait through all that. If we reach a point where there's simply, this group isn't able to come up with that key solution, or, if the landfill isn't able to propose it, because they're not a part of our working group, I want to be clear, this is government only. But, they have a role to play, and an obligation. They need to step up and be proposing additional answers to this problem. But if we're not able to do something quickly, then the hearing board is where we'll end up. I want to be clear, we're not saying we don't think it's going to do anything or it's a waste of time or that kind of thing. We just want to move quickly. And so far, based on what we saw in March and April, and then also last month, the last 6 weeks or so, we saw a willing partner with the landfill. If we ask for something and they agree to do it, then we're going to keep going down that.
Okay. Thanks, Terrence. I got to kind of cut it short here. I've got Ralph who keeps putting his hand up here. Short question, Ralph, please. And we have to I've got an agenda. I've got to stay on track.
What is the threshold? What is the threshold before we get to the hearing board? Because in the past, we've had hearing board things, and finding companies doesn't answer the question. In yesteryear, New York found out if they sent executives to prison, it was very effective because you couldn't pass that on. You know,
But you made that point last meeting.
well,
This
has-
exact same point that you're making about New York and putting the person from,
Well,
in
has it
jail,
done
the
any good?
VP.
Okay. If we're looking at when are we going to have a meeting with the board, what is the threshold?
Mr. Mann, could you answer that? Would be the threshold to make that happen? I thought you actually said what it would be
Well,
when you were speaking when you were answering previously.
I think we've discussed other thresholds. There isn't a hard rule or policy or anything like that that says when you reach this many complaints or this many violations, that you immediately go to the hearing board. It's really more a matter of, you have ongoing noncompliance and generally you have particular solutions on the table. So, normally if you have a facility, they have, a process unit, they need to replace or upgrade or do something to that process unit, they refuse to do it, we go to the hearing board, and then it's either, you gotta stop operating or you need to replace it, that kind of concept. This is different. So we're in the process now of trying to nail down, what are those solutions? And that's part of what the delay in tipping, which is a pretty major endeavor. That was part of it. And we're hoping that is addressing a lot of these trash issues, especially in the morning. The focus was, in large part, the schools, the children, the families who are being impacted there. Now we're back to landfill gas as we were earlier in the year, before those issues seemed to go away.
Okay. Thank you, thank you, Mr. Mann. Appreciate it. I'm going to cut it off right now. Ralph, this is it. You had your chance. Thank you. I'm going to move on to C3, Sunshine Canyon Landfill Local Enforcement Agency to report on any SCL matters within their purview. D was supposed to be here, but I understand D couldn't make it, and so we have Mr. David Thompson. Thank you, Dave.
Good afternoon. I'm David Thompson, and I'm with the Sunshine Canyon Local Enforcement Agency. One of the things I've been asked to do is kind of explain how our agency is put together. Since the landfill is located half in the city, half in the county, it cannot fall into the jurisdiction of the city local enforcement agency or the county local enforcement agency. So we had to come up with a joint powers agreement between the city and the county that formed the Sunshine Canyon Local Enforcement Agency. And it is staffed by city and county LEA inspectors and managers. And each year, I am co-program manager with D. Lugo, and each calendar year, we switch as to who is officially in charge. We need one single person. So odd calendar years, I'm the official program manager. Even calendar years, Dee Lugo is the program manager. She would have been here today, but a personal matter came up this morning, and she gave me a call and asked if I could fill in for her. As to inspections of the site, everything still maintains the same. It's just a matter of who kind of reports here and signs the letters for us. In regards to matters under our jurisdiction, since the last CAC meeting, we have not had any violations at the site. We continue to inspect for the solid waste regulations that are found in Title 14 and Title 27 of the California Code of Regulations. So we report to the state with these findings. All of our inspections are online. If you go to our website, www.scllea.org. At the last one, we talked about having a wet weather plan. That was due November 10th. It was submitted to us. The LEA has reviewed it, and the approved plan is located on our website. We had the rains during the winter over the holidays. The site held up fairly well. They had a couple little issues with some erosion, but with this plan, they were able to get these corrected right away. And so, we're going to be working some more to prevent this from happening in the future, but overall, the site performed really well during the rain. And I think that's it for things under my jurisdiction.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Any questions from the Horseshoe? Okay, I'd just like to add, Dave did not mention that his budget for the entire LEA actually comes from Republic. Their funding, it's not the city or the county. The funding comes from Republic. The other thing that I did have, if any of you had gone looking for the wet weather plan, you wouldn't have found it. You would have found the original one. The revised one was in another location, which has now been relocated, correct, Dave? So if they do go to your website, they should be able to find the revised wet weather plan, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thanks. Just let you know, just in case, because I was one of those that went looking and couldn't find it, so. And Dave knows because he got email. Okay, so are there any questions from the oh, yes, sir.
You're right here with LAUSD. I did see the wet weather plan. I actually looked at it before he came to the meeting, so it is in the website right now. The one thing I was wondering about is the quarterly report. Usually that's done by December. I didn't see it.
The quarterly report?
Yeah, there's a quarterly report that's done. Every 3 months, there's a report that's done, and it's on the website.
Usually on the quarter, though, they're generally about 15 days behind, so I would expect on about January 15th that Republic would end up sending out.
For the inspection reports?
No, I think their quarterly report, they submit a, first, second, third quarter, fourth quarter report. I think that's what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, but it's
every couple months.
Normally, because they're compiling it, it's at least 15 days later. And so if you're looking for the fourth quarter, it wouldn't be coming until,
So
January
mid-January,
15th.
so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So if you're going to get one, I would expect that you would see it. Plus, if I get, I usually send them out anyway to the community. Are there any other questions from our attendees here in the audience? Mr. Pfefferman.
So how does the LEA evaluate then how effective the wet weather plan that is submitted to your office, whether or not it's actually effective? Because I know you're saying it held up very well, yet boots on the ground in the neighborhood, it doesn't seem like the plan is holding up very well. So how are you looking at it then?
For us, we are looking at it in regards to what's under our jurisdiction, which is the regulations in Title 27, which talks about erosion control, ponding, traffic control on site, basically that type of things. What my inspectors observed that the wet weather deck was operating fine. Trucks were safely driving in and out. They were able to dump the trash and cover it each night as required. They were able to eliminate any ponding within the required 48 hours.
Okay, but
you asked how I evaluate. This is how we evaluate.
Okay.
These are things under our jurisdiction.
Right.
So did the neighborhood experience any problems with flooding from the landfill or trash washing out? Those are the types of things that we would look for.
Right, but didn't BFI Republic cited erosion as one of the contributors to the smells in the neighborhood? And you're saying that the erosion was handled adequately, right? So,
yeah, last year, if you remember, we had multiple violations where there was areas of trash that was exposed for weeks. And this time, they had 2 areas with small little rill of trash exposed. That I believe the main storm came on a Sunday night. Monday morning when they were there, they had immediately began temporary repair work. They had soil placed on top of it. Since then, they have gone back, put additional soil, and retracked in. So they've done a lot of work retracking in these slopes. And, those 2 areas where the erosion were coming from, one was a berm that had water kind of trapped behind it. It overflowed. So we're now working on the slope so the water drains to the right section. The other one was a low spot that has now been raised, so the water is going to the downspouts. I think each storm, there's always going to be a little bit of problems just due to settlement of the landfill. As trash decomposes, it shrinks. So usually up to like 25%. And it doesn't just settle at one flat rate. It has differential settlement. Because let's say if you have a cubic yard of green waste and a cubic yard of concrete, putting in, it's going to be at the same level. But over time, that green waste is going to decompose and it's going to shrink down. The concrete's not going to move. So as it shrinks down, you're going to get a low spot. There's going to be some cracking. And that's what we're requiring, that they go around prior to the storms and try to identify these areas to get them fixed ahead of time. So we don't have the issues that we had last year. Because as Michael said, last year, that first quarter was a failure. And that's why they got multiple violations. And so we'll go from there.
Just to let you know, Dave and I had talked on the phone regarding this same issue. And again, this just came up as about, I don't see the revised wet weather plan. But I believe within the wet weather plan now, it's far more extensive. So anybody hasn't had an opportunity, I don't believe, to have a look at that plan. So maybe we should take that, and when we come back at our next meeting, we can turn around and pick at that if we don't find it.
Well, the LEA is always willing to listen to comments on these plans. It's not a set in stone.
Right.
If there's something that needs to be adjusted, we'll get it adjusted. And actually, Michael and Gretchen have been very great about making the suggested adjustments.
Right.
Because they took in suggestions from the LEA, from Public Works, and put into this new plan. So,
And by the way, Eric, we did have input to County Public Works. I know I wrote in, and I believe you wrote in too.
Right.
So we had made comments, and those were in turn folded into the LEA. The LEA in turn took it up with Republic. Again, I'm sort of withholding my judgment because I haven't seen the revised plan, but I've been assured and talking with Dave that they have done a lot more based on what they had recommended they needed to do to that wet weather plan. But listen, I've got to stop it. I appreciate, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on. I gotta keep this going. I'm running out of time. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, folks. Okay, we're now up to C4, Los Angeles Unified School District report on any SCL matters within their purview. Mr. Andrew Meduno. And Andrew, I'm sorry, I look over there and I go, I know you, and I just couldn't think of your name.
It's all right.
Thank
Happy
you,
New
sir.
Year, folks. LAUSD reported 4 NOVs since the last meeting, which would have been from November 9th on. Other than that, we have the trailer that's on the site that's working properly. I looked at it today. They're still only measuring the PM10 and the black carbon and the wind on it. I'm hoping that we can get the city or county who also has the permit to add more things with Republic. Maybe we can get some methane or something on that website so we can see different parameters other than just the basic 3. Other than that, I really don't have much else to add to the meeting.
Okay, any questions from the horseshoe? Okay, only one thing I'd like to, has the the school called in recently?
Not
As
in-
far as any odor?
Not in January. There was a complaint on the 8th, but the staff went around and they didn't smell the odor, so they have to be the ones to initiate that NOV. Since they didn't smell the odor, they didn't initiate one on the 8th.
Thank you, and I'm looking to see, and I have no questions from the online. Ralph first.
I live across the street from the school. Could I get a card from you?
Yeah, I think I gave you one 2 meetings ago, but I can do it again. Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you, Ralph. And Mr. Pfeffman, this is the last one. Make it short, please.
I have a 6-year-old that attends school at Van Gogh Charter, and we spoke after that new trailer was installed, and you had mentioned that now that device would measure more than just black carbon, PM2.5.
Which is why I was looking for the quarterly report. So supposedly it should be in that.
So why are these other chemicals that were supposedly going to be measured with this new device not being measured?
That's up to the city, county, and Republic. That's their thing. We just allowed them to put the trailer on the site. We didn't initiate.
So the city, the county, and BFI Republic are continuing to refuse to
Well, I don't know about
monitor
refuse, but they
what
just
chemicals.
I don't know if they're not, haven't monitored. Again, we haven't seen the quarterly report.
We're not refusing anything.
So then why aren't
but we
we
just haven't
measuring the
seen the
chemicals
data
that my son is being exposed to when he's on the playground?
It's not our program. We just fund the program.
Right, it's the City of Los Angeles that handles the contract, okay, as
Right.
to, gathering this data and stuff like that. So if the city doesn't request it, Michael's right, all they're going to do is they're going to pay for whatever they ask for.
Okay.
So
So
they're not asking for that. Although we understand that the equipment that they put in has the ability to
Right.
do additional things.
So the equipment has the capacity and the capability to measure this.
Correct.
It's the city is choosing not to measure for it.
Not to ask for it. They have to turn around and decide, the city of Los Angeles has to decide that they want to have this done.
So what are the machinations to make the city start to measure for these chemicals then?
That's kind of why I'm here to ask the same questions. I was just wondering if it's in the quarterly report. So that'll be coming out. So until I see that, I don't know.
Okay, and
It might be in there. I don't know.
I don't know. I know that, I think in city planning department, I think they've changed a whole bunch of people down there. But this is where we need to go if we want to get that additional monitoring done. It has to be taken up with city planning. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that, Mr. Meduno. Okay, I'm going to now move to C5, which is County Public Works Report on any SCL matters within their purview to include, and we had an update of any enforcement actions to enforce compliance since rescission of NOVs for exceedance of daily tonnage. Before I go, I would just like to say that County Public Works representative has taken issue with the fact that we included that statement beyond SCL matters within their purview. But they said if anybody had any questions, they could ask it as a question, but not as part of the agenda, which I don't agree with. However, it is what it is, so I'm going to allow them to make their presentation. Thank you.
I'm happy to answer any questions you might have on that issue. My name is Mickey Esposito. I'm Assistant Director of Public Works, and thank you.
Ralph,
Thank you so much for having us tonight. We do have a technical update for you, and typically who provides that is Emiko Thompson from EPD. So it's kind of atypical for me to be here, but I'm trying to be very committed to this community because the county really has been finding ways to organize itself around odor issues, in particular to landfills. The last time I attended, we talked about how we had done so with the Chiquita landfill and what we thought was a working solution going forward for Sunshine Canyon. That is what we're trying to do. I think Mr. Mann was trying to help shape that conversation around the efforts we have done since we last met. So since we last met, Supervisor Horvath has commissioned a working group of city, county, and state officials in order to establish regular communications around our regulatory authorities, which are incredibly complex. It's a very complicated issue in and of itself, getting the mitigation efforts to result in odor reduction. The technical of that is very difficult, but also the regulatory framework and context is really complicated as well. So if we can be working together more closely, communicating more regularly, then we can do a better job for the community. And that is our hope and our goal. But ultimately, the goal is to get the odor resolved. So we have been coordinating closely since we last met, meeting on a weekly rhythm. We're also committed to coming to these meetings and being accountable to the community. We have also had regular meetings with Republic, and we thought that not just getting the regulatory construct and those communications in place, but also having regular, robust communications with the company itself at various levels, not just those folks on the ground at the landfill, but also the executive team. And to be honest, I think people have been pleased with the level of engagement that we've had from the executive level down to the general manager and the landfill staff, and we want that to continue. This is about expediency and getting corrective action. Everyone in this room has the same, and on screen, has the same goal. We want these odors to go away, and we want that to happen as quickly as possible. So when the county and the city and AQMD have come together in this working group, we know as long as we're getting traction from the company who has the same goal, they want odors to go away for this community, a beautiful community. I drove around today, what a gem of a community, and I understand that you want your quality of life back. That's what we want too, and we are working together to pursue that goal together. So I want you to know we've gotten their attention. They're showing up at every level. They are coming up with corrective measures. And what we want at the end of the day are results being the ultimate goal. With that said, we have more to do. There's lots of work ahead. And I don't want to overpromise that any of these mitigation efforts will work, but that's what we're striving for. We're coming up with all kinds of ideas to make these corrective measures work and have result. And the other issue is just that in our minds, our collective minds, we are rallying around the odor problem. So there are other issues, dust, traffic, there are tonnage issues. We have lots of regulatory oversight of these landfills for many, many, many things. Odor is the number one priority. And if I make everything important, then nothing is important. And so that's why we have our focus on odor and addressing odor. So if there are other issues and concerns, certainly we are happy to hear from you. We want to know what your lived experience is every day. We're trying to keep tabs not only on the AQMD data, but also what the residents are experiencing as these mitigation efforts are being deployed. We want to know if the mitigation efforts produce results. That's it. That's what we care about. The other thing is just going forward. We are confident that we have the system in place with the regulatory construct to keep our focus as a county, as a city, as a state on this, and we're well represented there. So we'll just continue those efforts. But right now I'm going to turn it to Amiko to talk about her technical update, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have going forward. Thank you.
Before you leave, I just want to make sure, okay, let's continue on. I'll save them to the end. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Emiko Thompson, Assistant Deputy Director of Public Works. And so one of the things that Mickey asked the regulatory agencies to do is to reiterate what our roles are. There's many agencies represented here today, and it would be beneficial for you to have a clear understanding of who oversees what. So for Public Works, primarily, our role is to ensure that structures and other engineering features conform to county standards. So for example, drainage and grading, making sure that those conform to civil engineering standards for safety purposes. Also, Public Works assists the other regulatory agencies to provide technical comments. So we heard already a lot of talk about the wet weather plan. So the LEA has asked us to take a look at the wet weather plan. We did provide some comments, which I understand were incorporated into the plan, which predominantly had to do with dealing with wet loads and other particularly odorous loads. We're also we've recently looked at providing comments on the joint technical document, which I understand the LEA is currently finalizing as well. And that's in order to do a 5-year update to make sure all operational features are up to date and sufficient to continue to provide services at the landfill. And one thing I quickly wanted to bring up, because the topic came up earlier, was about capacity. So Public Works also collects various disposal data throughout the county, and purely from a numbers perspective, our numbers show that there is a sufficient disposal capacity in the region should waste not be taken to Sunshine Canyon landfill. But just also to note that even if the numbers say that, there are other real implications should that happen. And just from a factual perspective, there are contracts in place, there are processes and jurisdictions who currently take trash to Sunshine Canyon, so there would be disruption to services. So that's just something to bear in mind, not that that would be the ultimate deterrent for not taking any disposal tonnages, but there will be maybe short-term and even some minor long-term disruptions. And that's all I have, Mickey.
Okay, are there any questions from the horseshoe? Okay, I wanted to ask, is the city of Los Angeles on board with this delayed tipping? What time are you starting tipping now? If I could, are you?
I would suggest that the city of Los Angeles speak on their own behalf on the tipping issue. I think they're scheduled to speak on your agenda.
Yeah, well, city planning, yeah, if I've got Edgar, maybe he can answer that for me.
Well, he's county planning. Edgar is
did I
county
look at the
planning.
wrong one? City planning? No, there's nobody being attending from city planning.
Okay.
They don't have anybody here, I don't believe.
That's
So,
certainly
anyway, it was,
okay.
the only reason is, it's an easy question. You've delayed the tipping, but I remember the last time when we had that happen, City of Los Angeles carried on because they like to pick up, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, they're rattling around.
Are you asking me that question
No,
or
I'm
Mr.
actually looking
Stewart?
at Mr. Stewart, that was all. I just wanted to know, since you guys were talking and everything was there, was the City of Los Angeles on board?
We didn't restrict the city of Los Angeles.
Okay, so the city of Los Angeles is still doing early dumping. Okay, I just needed that question answered, yes.
And if you would like, we'd be happy to carry your question so that they can respond next time.
They did. And then the other one to you is, we had the issue about being on the agenda, and I tried to make the point that we've been told in the past, and this from the city of Los Angeles, if we didn't have an item on an agenda, that we couldn't really talk about it, and was one of the reasons for just asking, do we have anything to report on the rescission of the NOVs for exceeding their tonnage? Has there been
So
any?
the question I had, Wade, was the question I had for the agenda was that we had asked and answered that question last time at last meeting, and so it was redundant in showing up again. Do you have a question today?
Has there been any change since our last meeting, which was 2
been
months ago?
There's been no change.
Okay, that answers my question.
You bet.
Okay. Mr. Pfefferman. Somebody give him a mic. Short questions, please, sir.
You as well, Wade. Just a question. I just wanted some clarity on this, because when we have asked about solid waste streams being redirected, especially during rain events, we've been told by BFI Republic that there's nowhere else for the trash to go. Yet we're being told right now that there is capacity at other facilities that service LA County. So there is another solid waste, or there are other solid waste facilities that could accept tonnage if Sunshine Canyon landfill is having a hard time processing its own solid waste streams and is impacting our neighborhood. Is that correct then?
Yes, that's correct. And that doesn't take into consideration who owns what landfills, whose trucks are taking their own trash to their own landfills versus others.
Okay.
So this is purely numbers.
Okay, just because we've been told a number of times at these CAC meetings that there's nowhere else for the trash to go. So this is great information to have right now, which contradicts information that has been presented to us by BFI Republic.
Okay, thank you. And I see Mr. Mahaja has his hand up. Yes, Mr. Mahaja.
Well, I just wanted to expand on what Ms. Thompson indicated. Another agency in Los Angeles County that is involved with the landfill and both design and processing is the Los Angeles County Integrated Waste Management Task Force. And the task force has the membership of the Public Works, AQMD, Public Health, as well as City of Los Angeles, 3 appointees from the President of the City Council and 3 representatives appointed by the County Board of Supervisors. This task force pretty much acts as an entity that everybody can, if they have a concern, they raise the issue with the task force, so the task force can go and find the answer, go to the right person, and come back and report back. And this has something that is, from my perspective, as what I listen, even don't mention the Los Angeles County Integrated Waste Management Task Force. It doesn't even mention that when we're talking about disposal capacity, it was a county-wide integrated waste management plan that the task force, Public Works, prepared it under the auspices of the task force. In addition, the Public Works is also a staff under the LA County ordinance, is staff to the task force. So, in addition to that, Public Works is also involved with controlling the underground tanks, that there are some at Sunshine Canyon landfill. They are involved with drainage maintenance within the Sunshine Canyon landfill property because of the flood control districts. Outside the property, no, but inside they have to get the approval of the Los Angeles County Public Works as a part of the flood control districts. That the drainage plan, when we're talking about this 10 years wet weather, it is something that has to be also approved by the County Public Works. They are also involved issuing industrial waste permit, and that gets involved with the controlling the leachate from the landfill, ultimately where it goes, and making sure that it is managed properly. So these are in addition of the other items that Ms. Thompson indicated. By the way, the task force also meets once a month on the third Thursday at the Public Works headquarters in city of Alhambra.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Ladies, or do you have any other comments?
No.
Okay, and I see no other hands, so thank you very much, appreciate. Okay, I'm down to C6, County Regional Planning Department to report on any SCL matters within their purview, and we have Mr. Edgar Delatorre. Please, Edgar.
Hey everyone, Happy New Year to everyone. I don't have too much of a technical update. However, they want to, most of county agencies and are here, we wanted to give an overview and just a general brief explanation of our role. So we, as a planning department, our role is to manage the compliance of the conditional use permit. And that's a lot of, it takes a lot of more coordination work with all our technical agencies. As you've seen, all the agencies here have talked about what their roles are, and all that kind of overlaps with what we do. Our role, we do have some provisions that we monitor, but a lot of it is technical. As you guys have seen, it's a lot of the stuff that's being discussed is technical. So we rely and work closely with Public Works, Public Health, AQMD, and all the other regulatory agencies. So as far as part of the work group that we mentioned, we're working with them together to continue to meet monthly as of now to figure out solutions, where we're AQMD, see what their process is, what LEA is doing, and kind of collaborate together as a group to try to address these issues as much as we can. As part of this effort, what we do wanted to share today, on the door outside, we have a contact list that we put together, has state agencies, has the operators, contact info, it has the LEA, local enforcement agencies, their contact info, who to report to depending on the type of issues or concerns you have. So we just wanted to share this also on the planning, on our LA County Planning website for you guys to have access to it. And I just want to provide a resource for everyone to have available. We are working on more stuff like this. In addition to this, is just resources, right? It's not fixing any issue. It's something that we just wanted to share with the group. That's as much I have for today. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Questions for the horseshoe? Not seeing none. I have one person. Anybody in the audience here that has any questions? Seeing none, then I'm going to go to Mr. Mahaja. You got your hand up.
Well, I'm sorry being back again, but I just had the question that the county conditional use permit was revised in October of 2022. That's something I just found out last night, which is impacts the finding of conformance that was issued by the Integrated Waste Management Task Force. So my question is the revised conditional use permit posted on the website?
There has been no revision to the conditional use permit. There's nothing that has been done since the approval of the CUP in terms of revision.
So the answer is that it has not been posted?
No, it has not been revised. There's been no revision since the CUP was approved.
There are revisions in it.
Not.
Daily disposal quantity, depending on the years, has changed significantly.
I can assure you there's been no revisions to the conditional use permit. I'm not sure if there's the revisions to other plans associated to it that you may be referring to. But in terms of the conditional use permit, there's been no revisions done by the planning department for that permit.
I'm not saying that the planning department, the CUP, there are changes that has been made to the CUP. That is the county official document. And so my question is it posted? It's not posted, but when is it going to get posted? Because this whether we want to call it a revised CUP or whatever, I don't know, but the attorneys are going to refer to it, and
What I could do, actually, there's.
it is a well, I just leave it at that, and
Well, could I ask if Edgar could find out, at least research that question? Mike seems to think there has been a revision to the CUP. You say you've seen nothing. Could you at least investigate that and give us some information back?
That's exactly
for
what I
that
was,
particular one, it just gets involved. I stand corrected, number one. Number two, it is involved with that beneficial use of materials that we are not going to be discussing it now.
Oh, if you're referring to I think like Public Works had just mentioned, there's been no update as of now. They're still being discussed, but no changes as of now. No update.
Okay, thank you, Edgar. Thank you, Mike. I'm gonna move on. Okay, thank you again, sir.
No problem.
Okay, we're ready for C7 County Public Health Department report on any SCL matters within their purview. Do we have anybody from? Oh, we do. Could you introduce yourself, please? And if you have a card, could we get it?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So yes, I'm Sarah Crayad. I'm a regional health officer with the LA County Department of Public Health. And as with my fellow colleagues from various county departments, we're here just to, again, reiterate how important we feel this issue is, and definitely that we are collaborating together to address these issues. And as with my colleagues, I'll just give you a very brief overview of what our role as the Department of Public Health is as it relates to this matter, and give you also a little resource. So the role of the Department of Public Health is to really track and respond to any health concerns that may be reported to us as it relates to the issues at Sunshine Canyon. So as far as that is concerned, we do have an email address that folks can reach us and let us know about any issues that you have regarding this, and that email address is tox@ph.lacounty.gov, and we also have a phone number. It's 626-430-9821. So again, if you guys have any questions or concerns related to any health issues, you are free to reach out to us, and we're happy to respond. And we also track these over time as well. So that's it. Really no other updates at this moment.
Yeah, we have a question here, Horseshoe.
Could you please repeat that email address?
Yes, it's TOX.
Is that the third letter X like
X
X-ray?
as in X-ray.
Thank you.
Yes, at ph.lacounty.gov, and the resource sheet that was just mentioned has this information on it as well. Sure.
Okay, any other questions from Horseshoe? Seeing none, do we have any from our audience here? No, and I see that nobody has their hand up, so again, if we could have your card, great, thank you very much, appreciate that, thank you, Sarah. Okay, we're now moving on to C8, which is City Planning Department to report on any SCL matters within their purview. Is there anybody here from City Planning?
Yes. My name is Olga Ayala. I'm one of the three city planners for the geographical area. But as of today, it is my first day attending this meeting. I do not have any updates. Nevertheless, I would like to recommend, if you guys have any questions, continue reaching out to Claudia Rodriguez or Team Fargo. And I'm here just to introduce myself and report. Thank you.
Okay, could you repeat your name again and slow, oh, there we go. Is it Olga Ayala? Okay, it's up there.
All right.
Okay, and you're saying go to Tim?
Yeah, continue reaching out to Team Fargo. We are, you mentioned earlier that there has been a lot of changes in the planning department. And so I am one of those changes. So I'm just getting,
yeah. Are you a replacement for Nick? Does Nick have a replacement? Mr. Hendricks? I know he's passed. Did they replace him with anybody?
Not that I'm aware, other than we have 3 new planners for this area, so it could be any of us.
Okay, I'll take it up with Tim and get the information because I've been a little bit remiss. We did get email notice that he was unavailable and wasn't going to be attending, but I should have done something, and then I learned that he had passed on, so I was waiting for his replacement. Okay, so thank you very much. Do appreciate that.
No problem, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've got two lots of people with their hand up, but I'm going to go to David behind, please.
Thank you, Wade. Just a couple things. With the city planning and regional planning, they have what's called the Technical Advisory Committee, and this is a group with city planning, regional planning, public health, the LEA, and we will be having a meeting on February 13th. This is chaired by the heads of the 2 planning agencies. One of the items on that agenda will be a report from a consultant called STI, and they are the ones doing the monitoring at the school and at the landfill. And they're the ones that produce a report. So I think that would be a good opportunity to be able to ask about what exactly is monitored. And I know there was a change in the contract recently, so I don't know what's being monitored, and that would be a good opportunity for everyone to find out exactly what's being monitored. So.
Okay, just FYI, at the back of your packet that you were given, there's a public meeting agenda on the back for the Technical Advisory Committee for the February 13th meeting. So if you'd like to look at that, you've got the information if you'd like to attend. Okay, Mr. Pfefferman had his hand up first.
Right, so what is the mechanism for turning on the monitoring of the device on the LAUSD campus? It seems like city planning is the entity that has jurisdiction over that. So why has those capabilities not been turned on?
Olga, are you still there?
Yes, thank you.
The
Yes, I
question
am.
is to you, ma'am.
Yes, so once again, I will take your question and hopefully bring answers next time. Getting all this new information.
Okay, well, maybe we can have that happen a little sooner than 2 more months because.
No, absolutely.
Right, because there's kids playing on those playgrounds right now that are being exposed to whatever that landfill is emitting.
Yes.
Okay, I am really running out of time. I've got to cut it short. I will take up with Tim Fargo, talk to him, and we will get the information to you. Okay, folks, I got to move on or else I'm not going to get this agenda done, and I've got a 5 o'clock hard stop. I'm now going to move to C9, other persons representing the city of the county who wish to report on any additional information or subject matter relating to SCL that's within their purview that has, quote, not been agendized for this meeting. Okay, is there anybody? Would that be appropriate for the supervisor's office? Not yet. Oh, I'm sorry. Take that back. Yes, yes, sir. Hang on. We do have somebody here who wishes to bring something. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. I know we're almost at time, so I'll be quick. I'm Aaron Nordauer. I'm the Environment Deputy for LA County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath. And I know I'm joined also by colleagues from Supervisor Barger and Councilmember Lee's office here. I just wanted to briefly say, our office is very invested, and it has been over this last year since Supervisor Horvath has come into office, with understanding the issues going on and seeking to bring an all-of-government solution to address them. I know that we know it has been hard going, and there's still work to do, but are optimistic that some of what's been already described as sort of our collective efforts will continue to yield some continued better results for the communities surrounding the landfill. So I just wanted to briefly say that just last month, the supervisor had the opportunity to tour Sunshine Canyon. Thank you for arranging that, to the operator and to the LEA for joining us. It was important for her to really discuss with the most senior levels of the Sunshine Canyon leadership of what their strategies are for getting these odors under control, which is the top priority, as we've discussed earlier. In addition, as was mentioned, we've started this monthly, for now it's monthly, coordination meeting, which I've seen to be very helpful in just making sure everybody from the city, state, and AQMD is at the table, really talking about what are those solutions. And if I can editorialize just for a second, there's certainly a lot of knowledge and expertise in different members of this collection of experts. And not every one of those experts has the legal authority to fix whatever the issue is of the agency that they work for. But by bringing everybody into the same conversation, I think it's helpful to actually surface what are the right solutions and who is the right party to fix that. And that will continue. So I want to thank really senior levels of Public Works, of AQMD, of others who are now really engaging in these meetings very regularly to be involved. And that'll continue to be the case. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Could I get your card, please?
Of course.
It's just for our things. Okay, and I'm not taking any questions right now. I'm sorry. I'm right out of time. I've got 4 minutes, and I've got to get through this. Okay, was there any other person there? Anybody? Sharon?
I think, together in discussing solutions. And thank you, Dave, for your expertise, as well as every other group that has joined that meeting. So Councilmember Lee does take this very seriously and is listening. And also our office has been up to Sunshine Canyon Landfill and have toured and met with management up there as well. And so we are listening. We are here at the meeting every week, and we will do follow-up, and I'll do my report back as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon. That was Sharon Bronson from Councilman Lee's office, 12th Council District.
30 seconds, I got it. I just wanted to introduce myself. I know I've been joining virtually, but Natalie Vartanian with Supervisor Catherine Barger's office. As you guys know, we now share the Sunshine Canyon landfill area with Supervisor Horvath. And Erin and I are working really closely on this issue, and she has been very engaged, as well as along with the city. So I just wanted to say hello and make sure you all have my contact info, which I'll pass around my card. Wait, thank you.
Appreciate it then, thank you. Okay, just for the record, I'm going to miss item D. I'm just going to go out of order. I'm going to set our next meeting date on E there, which is March 14, 2024. I don't think there's any holidays or any problems, but if they are, people have to get back to me. So here's typically what we do is at this point, I adjourn the meeting for 5 o'clock. And if there's any need to do F, which is special overtime for budget and banking, financial matters, we don't need to do. So that would be it for us. I have exactly 1 minute. I come back to D. Is there any committee member that has any comments not on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to know how we can get the San Fernando Road repaired, rebuilt. Is that county or city between Balboa and the Sunshine Canyon? It is almost inoperable.
Does anybody wish to take that question?
Taking a look at that road. I understand too, there were some questions about length of signal at that intersection going into the landfill. So we are looking at that.
I'm sorry, but his question is the state of the road itself. It's falling apart. Those trucks are 10 tons plus.
Yes.
Then the other ones with the long hauls are even more. So.
Yes, that's part of it is the condition of the road as well. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, folks. And guess what? It just turned 5 o'clock, so I'm officially adjourning this meeting. And I want to thank you all for coming out and putting up with me at least.
Apologize, Wade, but you didn't call public comment.
We're not taking them.
You have to. It's the law.
Okay, then I will take public comments. But it's I have to release all of the city and the county. At 5 o'clock, the city and the county has to leave. It's a hard stop. Yes. They're being paid to be here, and then 5 o'clock is a hard stop. It always has been. So I'm sorry if you want to make a comment. I'm sorry, please. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I have to release them. We're sitting here. We're waiting for your comment.
You're recognizing me now?
I'm recognizing you now, sir.
Okay, Glenn Bailey, speaking on public comment on an agenda item. I've been waiting for 2 hours for this, so maybe you need to look at other parts of your agenda. Number one, I do appreciate the fact that you are holding these hybrid meetings, because I did plan to attend in person today, but something last minute came up, so I was able to still join. I would recommend if there's a possibility of any member of the committee joining virtually under the restrictions of Assembly Bill 2449. It does require board action, either in advance or at the day of the meeting, so that needs to be on your agenda so that you can be able to do that. Please check with LA City Attorney or LA County Council for advice on that matter. I'm not an attorney. I want to thank for the contact list and for putting that into chat. That was one of my areas of concern. I mean, to be able to get that since I wasn't there in person. And then lastly, I would think it would be very helpful if you could put on the agenda for each of these different entities, the government agencies, also Brown and Ferris, the name of the expected speaker. I realize they may not show up and someone else may, but just having the name and the spelling would be much appreciated. And if there's multiple names of people who might show up, put both of the names down so that then we can see the actual name of the person. If you've got more room, you can even put their titles. And if you have even more room, you can put their email addresses. But I think that contact list might serve for that purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate it. And I apologize to you, sir. It's just that like I said, I had a hard stop. So thank you again. Appreciate it. And we will note your comments and put them in the minutes. Thank you.